What's the odds with Steve Rand? He's sloppy as fuck for 2022. You can't stop us. Our slop factors through the roof. I'm in Bloomington, Minnesota. Why? Because, why not? Why want to go to the Mall of America in January after the holidays when now I have about 17 inches of snow on the ground I'm looking at since I've gotten here. But having a great time. Wonderful comedy club. Come on down to the House of Comedy if you're in Minneapolis, Minnesota, or anywhere near here. Some pot because I got to bring some, and you need it. You need it to get through this weekend. Can you hear me, guys?
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Am I frozen? The reason we're very excited starting this podcast because it is mine, but Lucas Earl is actually going to be the person recording the podcast this week because I'm in unstable Wi-Fi territory here in Minneapolis, and so we need someone else to. But can I change the view? Ooh,
You're in the land of 10,000 lakes and no Wi-Fi, Steve.
And they're all frozen, by the way. Everything here is frozen. There's a news story yesterday about how to make outdoor hot, and it's not. People just put up like little 4x4s around, and they just fucking. The hardest part is getting the water to come out of the hose because it's so cold. It freezes right away, but you can't get it going out of the hose. You can't. It's a whole look. The story was very intricate. I cried at the end. It's not the point. Recording. Lucas is taking care of the rain this weekend for us. We're gonna go. Excited. This is my third podcast this week. Did my friend Tommy Popes called Stuff Island. It's a new one. He's part of that whole Shane Gillis and Keeves crew in Philadelphia. It was a fun one. And then shameless plug, the newest, hottest sports podcast on the block. It's Swaggy Joe's, and I did his pod. I was his very first guest, which is an honor. When you're a late night talk show host's very first guest, it's exciting. It's rarefied air. So we had a conversation about this week's playoffs, and so I'm excited to talk to you guys. You fucking jerks. We could say curse in front of you guys. Bunch of fucking jerks.
We're ready to make some money this week.
I'm ready
excited.
to make some money this week too, dude. I've got some real strong fucking opinions, and you ain't moving me off of them, Bill. Okay? You move me off of my steadfast opinion this weekend. I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to work, and I know how to make it work. More important.
Bills by 40.
Easy does it, dude. Look. Get straight away into it. You should be proud. And by the way, you guys just fucking missed the Super Bowl, our Super Bowl, the losers' Super Bowl. I didn't even get into this yet. So you guys have the playoffs to look forward to, right? Not me. We just had our Super Bowl because 2 days ago, the Giants finally cleaned house. And that is our Super Bowl. That's Super Bowl we get every 2 years. Start from scratch. Because you know what, dude? You know what? As of today, we might be in the whole NFL. We have no coach. We have no general manager, and our quarterback has probably no job security whatsoever. But I'll tell you what, I'll take that over what we have any fucking day of the week. The fact that the Giants, a very classy organization, let Dave Gettleman retire. Because if he didn't retire, he would have been murdered.
Yes.
So I'm glad he retired. So, and Jonah asked in his podcast, he goes, so that means he can never GM again? I go, oh, no. Retirement is like in boxing. It's like you just retire to save face, and then you come back whenever anyone gives you the possibility of running the job again, which probably not for a while.
No.
But, of course, typical Giants fashion, they couldn't just do it the right way. Clean house like the Vikings and the Bears did in one day. We had to piece it out because they realized the first fucking 3 people they picked the phone up and talked to were like, hey, man, You know, Brian Flores just got fired. Hello? That was the thing on the wall for Joe Judge. I firmly believe Flores doesn't get fired. Judge does not get fired. Flores
I agree with that.
Fired.
No,
Flores
it
getting
wasn't.
fired.
It wasn't because Flores got fired. It was because
Yes, it
Joe
was.
Judge put out two of the worst game plans for the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks after they told him, "Hey, your job is safe." He put out
Yes.
horrible game plans, and then the tip of the iceberg was him running a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9
I know. But by
inside
the
your
way,
own 5-yard line.
those are those are news cycles that last for 3 days. 3 days after that, you would have had, we got to start looking for GM coaches, and he could have just split. But if Brian Flores didn't get fired, and the next, well, I don't know, opening day next year, you're going to hear, Jesus Christ, dude, they fired Flores, but they didn't fire Joe Judge. They can make it into any way they want. They can make it a racial thing. They can make it a Belichick tree thing. They can make it anything they want, and it will never go away. So as soon as Flores got fired, which, you know, I'm not a Dolphins fan. So they were just a disgrace the first 9 games, but they were injured, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it did go 8-1, I mean, over the last 9 games. So very respectable. He's beaten Belichick. He's 4-2 against Bill Belichick. Which I don't think Joe Judge had 10 wins in his entire career with the Giants, and fucking Flores beat Bill Belichick 4 times. So, you know, I think that as soon as that happened, it was over. It was absolutely over for Joe Judge. He couldn't. There's no way. And even as Giants fans, I told you, Gettleman retiring is one thing, but you don't want to bring somebody in. Now they're saddled with a coach they probably don't want. You're going to try to make it work for a year, you know, like a fucking arranged marriage. Hi, this is Gupta. Gupta, this is Anand. And now you guys are married. So it sucks. It really does. And the fact that they finally figured out, just get rid of everyone. Because they probably talked to 2 or 3 possible GM, someone they reach out to for suggestions. Maybe a Bill Polian or whoever else, and they go, oh, shit. By the way, no one's going to really want your old garbage, too. So if you're going to fucking clean it out, clean the whole thing out. Now, we get it. Let's talk about what could possibly
You should
happen.
go get David Culley. Go get him and his staff. The job that he did, and then they fire him. He had nobody on his team. Literally, no. They had 30 free agents on their starting roster. Like, he had nothing.
The problem is
they traded away all of their starters, all of their superstars, and their best players sat out the whole season. And the guy still won 4 games, beat the number 1 seed, took the number 1 seed down to the wire in the last week. Go get him. He can make garbage players like the Giants play good,
they were
play hard,
competitive.
and compete.
They never
Every
gave up
game
on
they
games.
competed.
They never gave up on games. That is one possibility.
That was the worst roster ever.
When you have,
and they played hard.
When you have the Giants possibilities in front of you, I've got stars in my eyes. I start to dream big. You know, my first dream is I'm with this whole scenario of our first round draft pick. We draft the best, biggest, fucking hugest offensive lineman, the best, the guy that is the best, right? And with the second one, we trade him to New Orleans, and we take Sean Payton and the whole thing. He can coach, he can GM, and then we go sign Aaron Rodgers, who would love to play with Sean Payton in New York, and we go from there. We've got.
Has that ever happened? Has a player ever been traded for a coach before?
I don't think so.
Players never been traded.
Is that a thing?
Yes, the last time the New York Jets traded some draft picks and the rights to Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Draft picks.
Well, and also John Gruden, I think, was even more lately. Like, that was 2003, where he was traded to the Bucks for, like, it was 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders. The haul was insane.
Come back to your home under Parcells' arm. Let's do it all over again. You build it from New York. Then we go get Aaron Rodgers. We got enough off. He can make Sterling Shepard and Kenny Galladay and maybe some healthy Saquon Barkley into fucking stars. We got to shore up the one way to turn the whole ship around real quick. Scenario 2 I had. It doesn't really – I want to give the reins to Flores, and I want to go get Deshaun Watson. That's what I want. I want Brian Flores to coach Deshaun Watson the way he wanted and let's see how that works out. It's going to take some trading, and it's going to be real dicey because number one, we don't know what Deshaun didn't do. And number two, if we find out he did do something, it's going to be a penalty to pay. And what is that going to be? So I don't want it to be, I'm talking about, these are like, we go from the laughing stock, which we full-blown 100% laughing. Wait, the Jets. People expect the Jets to be. Jets are the little brother in New York. So if the Jets were where the Giants were, people are like, and they're not much better, but at least they've got a quarterback that they sort of believe in. But here's the deal: we have to turn the thing. That's the one way to turn it around immediately, quickly, right away. Clearing house and go getting humongous pieces. And if Sean Payton and Aaron Rodgers doesn't, well, guess what? We're fucked. We're cursed. And I don't know what to do after that. But we got to try something.
Go get Russell Wilson.
That's a Band-Aid I'll take for right now. But I don't really want. I would much rather
go get Deshaun Watson.
I don't want a Mitchell Trubisky. I don't want. Here's what I don't want.
You don't need a Mitchell Trubisky. Go get Deshaun Watson. Give up your draft picks and get he's literally at his peak. You can get 10 good years out of him as long as he doesn't go to jail. Go get him.
Exactly.
Do you want to win?
Brian Flores to shore up the D, if you get Brian Flores and a great offensive coordinator, like I'm talking someone that can come in there and really turn that thing around because they know they have Deshaun Watson. I'd give, if you want to do this, Brian Flores is the head coach. I'll hire Bill O'Brien. O'Brien, come.
No, you won't. What are you doing?
He's interviewing in Jacksonville.
You're not the GM.
He's interviewing in Jacksonville.
Deshaun Watson, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, but they worked well when they first got together. They worked well. Then it's tough. But I'm saying, like, you need someone to. Bill O'Brien made Bryce Young look like a 5.
Bill O'Brien completely dismantled that team and has set them back for probably a decade. You don't want him to do that to the Giants.
In the beginning, he was great.
Everyone's great in the beginning.
Yeah, well,
Nagy won Coach of the Year his first year. And what did he do after that? And then you got Stefanski won Coach of the Year last year, and this year he was awful. Horrible decisions.
I'm spitballing here, Brendan. I
know you don't want Bill O'Brien. Stop recycling. Whatever. Go get a winner. Go get Jim Harbaugh. Get Jim Harbaugh away from Michigan.
Yeah, give me Cliff Kingsbury, his brother, or whatever. One of these guys. I'm sure by then that fucking what's his name at USC is going to be sick of the sun out there. He'll come back to the East Coast.
But Steve, get a winner. Don't get someone who's a recycled loser in this league and has just left teams in dumpster fires. Get somebody that actually wins. Because a guy has coached under Bill Belichick doesn't mean they're Bill Belichick, because most of those guys that go off on their own fail horribly.
Yes. Brian Flores, however, has done pretty well.
Yeah. So no, he did. He had a losing record. They didn't make the playoffs. Yes, they played well that 9-game stretch this year. They played well, but he didn't develop Tua. The offensive line was garbage. He completely underutilized his running backs. So Brian Flores, everyone goes, he shouldn't have been fired. He also didn't do anything. He won 8 games, which was great, but it didn't matter.
So it's Sean Payton.
Sean Payton's won the Super Bowl. Sean Payton's put together the best defense for like the last decade. So yeah, Sean Payton would be great. Get a winner. Get a guy who can win and develop a quarterback.
I need it. We need it. We need
something to believe in New York. You should aggressively go get the quarterback first and then you'll have your choice of coaches instead of going and getting a coach and then hoping that they get the right quarterback to work with that coach.
I'm hoping all the week
do it the other way around
at the same time. Like there's no one waiting for anyone else, but I do think a GM or someone to a North Star of this franchise to go, this is how we're going to build it. This is how what we have to build with is because they're the people that are at 2 first-round draft picks. It's not like anyone else has been cheating and they've gotten more. We've had draft picks. The team that could have on paper, if we had acted correctly, every team could do that, but it would be pretty ridiculous. Again, everything is there. We just have to have the people making it. And I'm glad they did what they did. And I'm glad that the owner came out and was like, look, it sucks. As far as this is the lowest it's going to go that I want it to go. And I'm glad he understood. Like just when you thought last year it couldn't get any worse, it got fucking worse every time.
Yeah.
But that's good. I got to give you credit. I don't give enough, Biddlecombe. You painted a picture last week that I was like, we wasted 20 minutes on this ridiculous scenario that could never possibly happen. You could require so many things to happen that won't happen. The Colts losing, the Steelers beating the Ravens, in tie, and then you laid it out, all kind of come to fruition. Obviously, it didn't in the end, and you would never. But
which is one of the craziest, coach failures probably in the history of sports, which was just as enjoyable to watch. As someone who's not a Chargers fan, I feel for their fans, but Brandon Staley should have been fired right after that. That was a joke.
I mean,
and don't think the irony's lost that you finally give me a compliment after 3 years and it's freezing. Like I heard maybe a third of that.
No way, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I was so.
I know.
It sounded heartfelt.
Oh man!
But did you see all the after the fact, all the chatter about the Brandon Staley timeout? So to paint the picture, play clock is down to 2 seconds with I think 38 seconds left in the game. The Raiders, if they were to kick a field goal from where they were at on the field, it would have been like a 60-yarder. And the Chargers call a timeout. Now, Brandon Staley said, after when they asked, what were you doing? Did you not read the room and go, hey, it looks like the Raiders are just running the clock out and they're content on taking the tie? He goes, well, I wanted to get better personnel in there to defend against the run. The problem with him saying that is he took out his best run-stopping linebacker and put in another safety who was not able to cover the gap that he was supposed to get to stop Josh Jacobs from breaking off that big run and put them in field goal range. And on top of that, you got a video of Austin Eckler talking to a Raiders player after the game, and you can see him mouthing, we were just going to take a knee and let the clock run out. And Eckler's going, what, really? And then Carr said when they took that timeout, that completely changed our mentality, and, what the hell, let's win. So Brandon Staley calling that timeout basically lost them their season. And that wasn't not only that, we got to talk about the fourth down, going for it on fourth down on his 18-yard line when it was still a 3-point game with 7 minutes to go. He needs to stop being I'm the analytics guy and I'm going to go for it, because the analytics on fourth downs are kind of skewed because no one used to go for fourth downs. It's like a new thing in the last few years where everyone goes for it on fourth down. So when it was a very rare thing, of course, the success rate's higher because it was a surprise. Teams weren't expecting it. It was always on a trick play. So that skews the numbers. So when you look at it, what's the success rate on fourth down? Oh, it's 81%. 10 years from now, when everyone's going for it, now it's going to be like 30%. He's a fucking idiot. He should have been fired. That's the guy who should have fired. David Coley should have a job. Brandon Staley should be looking for work. He was hired, by the way. Sorry, last thing. He was hired because he had the number one defense with the LA Rams the year before, The Chargers were the third worst defense in football with a lot of talent. Fire Staley.
I'm thinking, if you don't call timeout, do you really believe that the Raiders are going to run the ball 2 more times? Either they get in or they don't get in, or you stop them, but they're going to run the clock out. Or do you believe, like, I'm trying to think of his, like, if he thought, like, I'm going to call a timeout, I'll bring in the people, the package that I think is going to stop the run the best.
But he brought in the wrong package for what he said he was doing.
They were already in field goal range.
It was a very long field. It was a 58-yard field goal from where they were at. And he called a timeout with 2 seconds left on I mean, you give the Raiders a chance to reset, to call a better play, to catch their breath a minute, and then go, oh, look, they just took out a linebacker and put in a safety. Let's run it here away from their shift. And they broke off a big run. Like, he literally cost them the game.
Dude, he panicked.
Yes, he couldn't handle the moment.
Yeah, well,
and he's a young guy. He's what, been a coach for 3 years in the NFL. But I mean, like a coordinator, not a head coach.
Yeah.
This is his first year head coach, but he's been like a coordinator.
And the shame of it is, for me, is that Justin Herbert won't be in the playoffs because this dude is dynamite. This dude is clutch.
Greatest.
All those 4th downs that he found people. I mean, he kept that. First of all, the team in it. They didn't deserve to really be there. They got in it because because of his tenacity on 4th down. So he's got it. They got it. Like they have so many pieces. They just have to figure out what do we have to lose right now to get better. And that's what they have. A lot of I'm so envious of their situation because he has shown and been given the chance to show how good of a quarterback he is. And I immediately go to Daniel Jones, where I say, like, yeah, he hasn't been given the opportunity to prove himself, but I haven't seen flashes of what Justin Herbert's done, and I would like to. It all goes back to the Giants for me, guys. Everything goes back.
Yeah. That's play calling. That's the coaching for the Chargers. The fact that Herbert had to make all those plays on 4th down, 1st and 2nd and 3rd down, for whatever reason, he's not going to his top targets. He's not going to his Eckler, and he's not going to Allen and Williams. If you go back and watch that game, like, he's throwing balls to Guyton and Palmer, and it's like, why are you going to your 3rd and 4th and 5th option as your number 1 read? Call a play and just get the ball in Allen's hands. It's just really bad coaching.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, why is he calling a timeout? Like, and if he was going to, like, you might as well have done it way earlier than this. Like,
yes.
Did
you see too? They cut to the Steelers fan in the crowd.
I know. I was just about to bring that up. I'm like, what would have happened if they run that clock out? Like, what would those 2 guys have done? I wanted to say, like, as a bonus, ESPN Plus, we're going to follow those guys back to their hotel room in Las Vegas, like, just to see what they're like on the streets, if they get into any interactions with other people, that would have been fun. But yeah, those guys in the Steelers jerseys, they're just staring. Like, one guy was ripped what was left of his hair almost out of his head.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to end that. I really did.
They could have just taken knees. We could have had the worst game in the history of football. They could have just taken knees, but Brandon Staley wanted to be the smartest guy in the room.
Did anything else surprise you over the weekend? I'm trying to think of, like, the biggest sort of.
I mean, the Colts, of course. Jesus.
What do you do?
And the Colts GM has already come out and said he regrets making the Carson Wentz trade.
He didn't say he regrets it. I watched his comments. He said I would. No, he said the opposite. I think he said I would do it again, or it's a decision I would make again, based on all the information I had then, which is good, dude. You got the guy that coached the guy that's no one believes in anymore. I mean, no, I don't think anyone can blame Chris Ballard for making that decision. I really don't. I honestly don't. I know the Eagles have reaped the benefits because of the draft picks and the way they use them, but that's because they have good GMs and good personnel people. But everything on paper, like it would be almost not as, it would be like the Sean Payton thing where it's like, how could you, you can't say this was a bad decision. And I thought that was good for them. And maybe it's just Carson Wentz can't put it together anymore, or put it together for, a short period of time. And now it's the game might be a little too difficult for him now. And the decision.
Frank Reich called a bad game. Jonathan Taylor, I mean, it wasn't just this game. They had winning in games for the last 3 weeks, I think, and they just didn't give the ball to their best player.
And it's because they stopped doing the fucking goddamn HBO Hard Knocks way too early.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been a hell of a thing to be able to see the locker room after they didn't just lose. Like the Bills lost to the Jags. The Bills defense still played really well. And the offense just had the worst game of the year.
They got beaten on both sides of the ball.
Got beat down.
They looked like week 1 Colts again. It was almost like a full back to the beginning again. It was wild. And I was so disappointed because I was like, now you don't have the MVP. In my estimation, the MVP of the league's not going to be in the playoffs. And it might actually hurt his chance to be MVP.
He won't now.
And that sucks.
He's not winning MVP.
That guy deserves to be MVP. I mean, let's just hypothetically say the Rams go on, put a run on, and go to the Super Bowl and maybe win the Super Bowl. You don't think Cooper Kupp's going to get more MVP votes than, based on that?
Right.
It's just a shame because Jonathan Taylor had a fucking unbelievable year. And the offensive line had a really great year for most of the year.
He really did.
The beginning and the end. That sucked. That sucked for them.
By the way, MVP related, the All-Pro votes were revealed today, and A-Rod got 34 first place votes. Brady got 16, so it kind of.
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, 34, for first team All-Pro versus 16, so it kind of guarantees that Rodgers will probably be MVP. I mean, Kupp will probably get Offensive Player of the Year, or Taylor, I guess, stands a chance for that, but. A quarterback's winning MVP this year.
I think you should give it to Derrick Henry. That guy finished 12th overall in rushing yards, and he only played 6 games.
He had like OJ numbers.
He would have shattered the rushing record. It's a shame he got hurt. Yeah, he would have absolutely shattered every rushing record.
You guys heard that Jim Painter joke about OJ, right? That he used to do. Did you guys? Yeah, he used to go. Something about, he would just, in this weird way, he was justifying the murders, right? Jim was justifying, he's like, so what if he killed that? He's like, the man ran for 2,000 yards in a 14-game season. And so what if it's when they let white people play defense? That's not the point. Just, dude, 2,000 yards in a 14-game season.
With a shitty offensive line and every defense knew you were just going to run the ball.
Bro.
I mean, that's when the Bills were really bad. That's one of the times when the Bills were really bad.
There you go.
What food service delivery do you guys use? I got to order food. What's your favorite?
I usually walk.
I use Grubhub, but Postmates is everywhere.
Fuck Postmates.
He's not walking. It's 8 degrees outside. There's 10 feet of snow on the ground.
No, I don't even want to walk to the fucking food court. I don't even want to. In the mall. The food court's on the other side. This mall is so fucking big.
You bet.
I'm going to order something to the food, and they'll probably get it from the food court and walk it to my room for an extra $15.
Yeah.
That's how cold it is out here. I'm excited about this weekend's games, though.
Wildcard weekend's my favorite weekend, man. It's the best. Nickelodeon game, all that shit.
Yeah, we got the Manning cast on Monday, right? They're going to do a game. I don't know. What's the Monday game? I forget.
Rams, Cardinals.
Cardinals.
You got what? Let's do before that, did you guys watch? Oh my God, golf last weekend in Maui. Holy shit! Did you watch any of it?
No.
Steve, we don't watch golf. Just tell us. You don't have to ask us. Just tell us. We don't watch golf.
It was first of all, I won again.
You're surprised every week that we tell you that it's not something that we do. We just do. What happened?
I gotta listen to you again about doing this fucking individual because I doubled my money in this I finished like, I don't know, 2,000 out of 100,000 people.
Dude,
I
yes,
picked
because
the first, second, and the
I'm
third.
telling you, you are smarter than the average player when it comes to
Sorry,
golf.
say that again. You're breaking up.
You are smarter than the average player when it comes to golf. If you do these mass entries where you put one entry in and another guy that's using a computer to generate scores puts in 150, he's probably going to beat you in 100 of those lineups. But if you do 1 versus 1, you know the courses, you know the type of grass, you know the wind, you watch what the players are doing. You have an idea of how they are mentally. You're gonna fucking win. You're not gonna win $1 million, but you're gonna win 10,000. You're gonna win 20,000.
Brenton, I came already. Enough. Please stop.
And that's how anyone who focuses on daily fantasy, if you have a sport, you should be doing single entries.
Welcome
Only
back
contests that have single
each other off with Steve
entries. Do you want to make money?
I do want to make money, Brent. I want to make Biddlecombe money. I want to make Biddlecombe
single entries. Oh, I got fucked on a parlay this week. I had, and I don't usually bet hockey, but I had 3 big favorites. So I took the Stars, the Bruins, and the Maple Leafs to win by 2 goals or more. And the Maple Leafs fucked me. They lost to the league worst Phoenix Coyotes 2-1. They outshot them 46-18, and I'm not over that. So I'm not betting hockey anymore.
I made my first legal bet in New York State, DraftKings Sportsbook. And of course, I did on the national championship game. I was like, absolutely, give me Alabama on the money line. Give me Bryce Young to throw 3 times, touchdowns, and give me that sweet, sweet under. And I was like, bingo, bango, bongo, done. So lost. Yeah, it's nice.
It's been fun listening the Sirius XM replay of like the Georgia broadcaster that they used on XM radio. Like he's just crying as they're winning. This is a big day. Bunch of new dog fans. Georgia's your national champion.
Dude, they came so hard.
Whole new generation of dog fans.
So hard in their pants.
Good for them, though.
I'm happy for them.
Good for them.
I'm happy for them. Yeah, this week's game because it is fun to gamble just so easily on your phone, which I think I'll do this week for us if we want. Depending on, we'll see who's getting better odds because I can do it now, on DraftKings Sportsbook. So
yeah,
even though they're not, we're not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form, we're still open to all suggestions for sponsorship.
They pay my mortgage, so I'm okay with giving them more money, and I have a lot of stock. So please, Steve, take all the Alabama bets that you can handle.
I want to. Hold on, I want to pull up the DraftKings because I have. What is your favorite? No, beyond the Bills and the Patriots.
Honestly, as a fan, the Bills win. As a bettor, this is probably the worst matchup that Buffalo could have in the first round. Because Belichick has literally built that team to beat Josh Allen, and that's the way he's been making his moves for the last few years. And he knows this team better than any other team would know Buffalo, and he's the best coach. So it does make me very nervous. I still think the Bills win the game, but if they're playing anybody else, I think it's all but a guaranteed win. This one, it's more like 60-40. How bad's the weather going to be? And does Allen play well enough in the cold, which he historically hasn't? And can they stop the run? Because that's all the Patriots are going to do.
Well, they did it. They couldn't the first time. And I think this game's going to be closer to the way the first game was than the second game, in the sense of I think that Belichick will manage the clock more, run the ball, try to stop the run. He'll try to take Josh Allen off the field as much as possible. So score-wise, I think it's going to be closer to the first game, but I do think the Bills will win. I really do believe the Bills will win. I think that they will. I don't think that Belichick has everything he needs to be able to beat the Bills. I don't want to see him next year, but I think you guys are talented.
This line is moved, by the way. It was 3.5. Now it's Buffalo -5. So I guess
damn.
either the money's pouring in on the Bills or Vegas is saying the same thing you're saying, Steve, that the Patriots are good, but they're not there yet.
I have 4.5 on DraftKings.
Yeah, it's 4.5 last time I saw it, which I would honestly maybe take the Pats.
Yeah, the Pats to cover 5 points. I think it's going to be a close game. And then the over-under at 44, it's let's check the weather. Because it's going to be very cold, but is it going to snow and is there going to be wind?
Did you see what Bart Scott recommended to do to stay warm in this
pull
game?
that up?
Yeah, let me find it.
That was a great post, by the way.
I'm sorry, is he wrong?
Dude, I've never heard anyone say they took Viagra to stay warm before.
Okay, so the kickoff, it'll be partly cloudy throughout the day. The temperature is going to be 4 degrees Fahrenheit at kickoff with a 5-mile-an-hour wind. So wind's not going to be a factor. It's just going to be very cold. And then by the second quarter, it stays the same. Third quarter, it gets a little bit colder by a couple degrees, but the wind goes down. Fourth, so the wind's not going to be a factor as of right now, and the game's being played tomorrow. It's just going to be, it's going to feel like it's -5.
Okay.
But Allen has bad numbers when he plays in temperatures under 30 degrees.
I mean, look, nobody wants to play in that fucking cold.
No.
Are you guys?
But I still think they're the better team.
I know. I'm worried that you guys don't believe you're going to win. Or don't believe you can win.
I still think the Bills win. It makes me nervous how close this game's going to be. And I really think if they were playing Cincinnati, if they were playing Vegas, if they were playing Kansas City even, I think they win all those games much easier than beating the Patriots.
Also, the Bills aren't a team that I really feel comfortable like playing at home. I don't mind if they go on the road to get to the Super Bowl. They're not designed for their environment.
Well, no one in Buffalo is designed for their environment. We jump through fucking tables. We don't know how to handle anything.
I mean, are they going to go through
and then they decided, you know what? We've jumped through tables. Now we need to light them on fire.
That's a good question. How soon do tables sell out in Buffalo?
Oh, they're already sold out. You can't get a table in Buffalo.
Dude,
is it the...
You got to be a real fucking crazy person to go through a table in 0 degrees. You just have to be.
Or
half the stadium's going to show up without shirts on.
Yeah, they're tailgating right now, Steve.
Dude. Oh my God. It's wild. It's wild how, I mean, I more power to them. I appreciate but it's like that's weather where you're like, just get in the game and hope you don't die. I hope you survive. That's it.
Yeah. But I think it's a relatively close game. At the most, Bills win by a touchdown. But it's probably more like 3 or 4 points. So I think the Pats could cover.
I will predict Stephon Diggs to go off on Saturday. The Patriots
he should.
Yeah. And also, speaking of Diggs, 4 years ago today was the Minneapolis Miracle. I'm currently reading. So for all the Saints fans out there.
Yeah, the big thing that has changed in the last few weeks, which I think is really good for Buffalo's chances in the playoffs, is they have established a running game. So Singletary's had 20 carries, I think, the last 3 games, and he's been really effective on the ground. And then it's going to be cold, so you can work in Zach Moss, who is a big guy and is not going to be fun to tackle. And as long as Allen's not fun to tackle either if he takes off with the ball. So as long as he doesn't have to throw 40 times, the Bills should win this game.
Dude, they really need to. They really, really need to be able to have Josh Allen prove that this is he's worth every, this is why you pay a guy like him. You don't pay him to be like, I understand he's great for the community. He's a great quarterback. He's great. But like this city, they paid him that money to bring them a championship. Yes. And I'm not saying it necessarily has to be this year, but to be able to do that, you have to, he's taken enough tough losses in the playoffs. He needs to be able to win this game, prove that he, not maybe the reason he won the game, but the fact that he played well enough to win the game and kind of move on from the Belichick thing. Whatever happens later on in the playoffs, we'll figure those games out. But this game, for what he's been paid and the kind of quarterback they expect him to be, you got to beat a rookie quarterback, dude. Even though he's got the best coach in the fucking world and they were built to beat you and they're in the same division and it's hard to fucking play a team, 3 times in a year. It's hard to beat them for a second time. It's something that just has to happen. He's got to step up. These are the games that these kind of players have to do it. And I hope that he will. And I believe that he will. I believe that he will be the reason they win this game in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's a throw, whether it's a decision to throw the ball out of bounds, whether it's a decision not to take a fucking sack like he did against Houston, and we watched that whole, they could have won that game. However it happens, it will be Josh Allen's game to win or lose. And I believe that he will win the game. I mean, if you want to take the Patriots, then we can do that.
I don't.
Okay.
I would rather take the Bills either on the money line. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just see what that is on the money line. Okay. I agree with you. What is the what are the other games? I'm trying to think of.
We skipped the early Saturday game. We got the Vegas Raiders going to Cincinnati.
Vegas and Bengals to me is going to be the most fun game to watch. I think
that one's the most fun.
I think so. The Raiders to me they're like, we have nothing to lose, almost in the sense of the way Pittsburgh knows that they're going to get beat. And I love the way Roethlisberger was like, we're going to get beat and that's it. But we'll go out and have fun doing it. I like that attitude. I'm sure Tomlin's kind of almost on board with that attitude too. I feel like Derek Carr thinks the same thing too. Nobody thought we should be here. Not even us. We shouldn't be here.
I don't want to bet against Derek Carr.
I know. And I'm like, I think that what's the fucking over-under on that game?
Like 49.
48?
Yeah.
48.
48 and a half I got it at. And the weather is not going to be a factor. It's going to be like 30 degrees and should be wind won't be a factor. I don't think there's going to be any precipitation either, but I could pull that up.
Who do you think wins the game?
It's going to be 32 overcast, 9-mile-an-hour winds. I think the Raiders upset the Bengals.
Wow, I had it the other way.
I get that they're playing on a short week and they just had an overtime game and they're exhausted, but this feels like Derek Carr is too focused. And the Bengals are okay on defense. They're good against the run, but they're not great against the pass. And if Darren Waller is a week healthier and Hunter Renfro's emerged and Brian Edwards, can get open a couple of times, I really think we could see an upset.
Well, my argument would be
Joe Burrow's big games, sorry to cut you off, but Joe Burrow's big games have come against teams that blitz a lot. And the Raiders, I think, are one of the lowest blitzing teams in the league. They blitz like 12% of the time. So
a lot of coverage.
I think the Bengals will try to run the ball with Mixon a lot because the Raiders are bad against the run. And I actually like the under because I think it'll be a slower game. But I like the Raiders to just be a little bit better. They just feel like a team of destiny. The Bengals don't have a lot of experience in the playoffs. Not that the Raiders do, but the Bengals really don't. And they're coming in as favorites. And I think Derek Carr goes one more week.
I hope that Joe Burrows, if they're not giving him anything deep, I hope he doesn't try to force stuff. If he tries to force stuff, then they're going to be in trouble. But he has a lot of playmakers. Joe Mixon on checkdowns is a great running back to come out of the backfield. They've got, what's his name, in the slot. That's really, really good. So they have weapons that they can dump down and go
Higgins,
short.
Yeah. Higgins, Boyd, and Chase are three of the best in the league.
If Joe Burrows tries to and it turns into a gunslinging thing, with him and Derek Carr, and he tries to force stuff down the field that may not be there, or something that he thinks he sees. It is still, this is his first experience in the NFL playoffs. I know he's been, the national championship and the college playoffs, really, the way they're covered and the way that they're really like the NFL playoffs. They get a great sense of what it's like as far as, the week of preparation, the week of media scrutiny, the week of breaking things down. So I don't think it's necessarily like, oh shit, they're going to be completely outmatched. That's why I don't think Mac Jones is in the same sense of, of being like over the moment is too big for him. But I think Joe Burrow will be confident, does have confidence. But if that confidence turns into him trying to force shit, it could all fall apart. But if he decides, hey, they're not giving me the long ball, but I'm going to think and dump my way into every single red zone I can fall and then I'll just use my playmakers the way we want to in the red zone. Then I think he stays up. And I think the Bengals win. I mean, I don't know how you feel, Lucas.
Lucas, you're the deciding factor.
I know this is hard. I mean, obviously it seems like most people would pick the Bengals, but I would not bet against Carr.
All right.
I agree with that. I personally think Renfro has a bigger game than Waller, but I could see a lot of short intermediate routes. Renfro's amazing. Yeah. I mean, that guy.
If Waller's healthy, that just adds another element that the Bengals have to account for.
Yeah. So I would honestly probably take the Raiders with the points.
I did it.
You did?
Yeah. Well, no, I have them going. I'm keeping track of them.
Yeah.
I'm putting them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have them at +5 here.
You ready for this?
The next game, first game on Sunday.
The Eagles are going to beat Tom Brady.
You're skipping games. You want to do the Eagles game?
Wait, that's what I have next.
You're saying the Eagles are going to beat Tom Brady?
If we're going in order.
I did.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry. Why does BetDSI have this out of order? They're
Brendan.
Idiots.
Yes.
You're betting against the greatest of all time.
I am.
In the first round.
I am. And I'll tell you why.
I love it, Steve. It's
know.
Gonna rain.
It's gonna be sloppy. The Eagles those NFC East teams for some reason can get to Tom Brady. I know he played against the Washington football team in the first round last year, and they thought they were going to demolish him too. But the Eagles have a good secondary, and they can run the ball. And the first game they played, yeah, the Eagles won. It was a shootout. Tom Brady threw 2 picks. I think Tom Brady plays better this game than he did the first game, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think he has enough weapons to go to. He's going to have to – Rob Gronkowski is going to have a killer game, and they're going to have to rely on a Rob Gronkowski, old Rob Gronkowski, to be the Rob Gronkowski of 2012. And who knows? He may still have it in him. It's either that or Tom Brady's going to have to make fucking playmakers and miracle workers out of rookie wide receivers, because everybody else
squad guys.
Yeah, either everybody else is dead or injured or has COVID or quit football and ripped their shirt off and left the game. So that's how it is. That's what he has left. And Tom Brady will make no excuses about it. I'm sure but I think this is going to be a difficult game for him. And I think it's going to be so close and so tough that I'm like, I'd rather take the Eagles and be like, oh shit, Steve picked the fucking Eagles and he was right. It'd be like, oh, it was a close game, but I still took the Bucks.
But are you taking the Eagles on the money line, or are you taking the Eagles to cover?
Money line, dude, to win the fucking football game, to win it.
I love it.
Playoff Lenny is coming back, right?
Huh?
Playoff Lenny is coming back.
Let me check the practice report.
Okay.
I think so.
Not that matters.
We're looking at a 60% chance of rain, and we're looking at 18 to 20 mile an hour winds, and that doesn't do well when you have a noodle arm. Not to mention you're missing your best receiver, and you're missing your third best receiver. And, Mike Evans is an elite receiver, but he's not a guy that you dink and dunk to and move down the field. He's a guy that you throw to in the red zone.
Yeah.
Same with Gronk. So you're missing that guy that can break. You're going to rely on Scotty Miller and Johnson.
he's the cornerback for Philly, right? Darius Slay is his name, right?
Yeah.
He's a fucking legit cornerback. He's a shutdown dude.
God damn it, Steve. You're selling me on this Eagles thing. Playoff Lenny is a game time decision. Ronald Jones is already ruled out.
Yeah.
So really the Bucks have no running game if Lenny doesn't play.
Le'Veon Bell time, baby.
So now that's what you got to rely on Le'Veon Bell and Rob Gronkowski, and you got to rely on 44-year-old Tom Brady, which I'll never take his age away from the guy. I'm not even this. You got to rely on Tom Brady to get them the ball, which he will.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of buts.
But if things don't go his way right away, he'll be breaking tablets on the sideline. So yeah, this could be another
I do not think
big
this
upset.
is a blowout. I think this is a close game and a game where you're like, oh shit, Tom Brady's, either it could be a thing where they're down early and he's like, oh shit, Tom Brady's coming back. And maybe Tom Brady's great second half that gets them back to the game and makes it almost win. But I just think that Philly's going to do it. And I the fact that Philly even made it into the fucking playoffs is embarrassing and makes me upset. But this is what I think. It's the way I feel.
But isn't that kind of how it was with the Giants when they ran the table and beat the undefeated Patriots? Yeah. It was like, why the fuck is this team in the playoffs? And then they just went crazy. And you have Jalen Hurts. Look, man, Jalen Hurts, when he is on, he is on. Not saying he's going to have a great game, but he has that capability and he's a dual threat. This is a team that has changed their style up and they are very run heavy. And you look at the Buccaneers the last couple of weeks, they gave up 137 to the Jets, and they gave up, I think, 110 or so to the Panthers. So their run defense that was supposed to be great has not been great the last few weeks.
No. And, Fletcher Cox is still fucking the beast. He sacked Tom Brady plenty of times. So, again, I just think it's
everybody on the Eagles side is good to go. Miles Sanders is going to play.
On who? Oh,
yeah, I love it. Let's roll the dice and take the Eagles on the money line.
All right, put it
in. So the next game on the slate is the projected highest scoring game of the week. That will be the 49ers at the Cowboys.
And this is a game I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So
yeah.
Tell me why and what you think's gonna happen.
I fucking hate Dallas, and I think they're gonna get spanked. It's gonna be great.
Me too.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy is gonna make a couple decisions on Sunday that are gonna make you question his employment on Monday.
Oh my God! You think Jerry Jones fires him if they get blown out on Monday?
I don't think he fires him. I just think there's questions. If there's, he's just such an idiot, and just the 49ers, I don't know. I was reading the last time these two teams played, there were like 12 All-Pros and 10 future Hall of Famers. Like, it's just star-studded whenever they go up against each other. And same this year.
I think fucking San Francisco's going to win too. I think they're a team trending in the right direction, and I think Dallas is a team trending in the wrong direction. Plus, it will help me with my bet that I predicted last week that Amy Schneider lasts longer than the fucking Cowboys season does. So, on Jeopardy. So, yeah,
she's killing
I want
it.
to be right about that.
Yeah.
So I definitely think. I mean, what's your?
But it's also the Nickelodeon game too. That's another reason to be excited.
Slime, dude.
Slime.
I missed that game last year. I didn't watch it, but I'll definitely watch it this year. Brent, you're on board with that, right? Mm-hmm. The Niners?
Yes, that was the one I was most excited about to say that there would be an upset. The Niners are going to be able to run all over this Dallas defense, which has not been, aside from Micah Parsons, they haven't been great. And then you look at the offensive side, which Mike McCarthy has done a number on that offense. There's the best talent in the league, arguably. And you watch last week's game against the Cardinals, and the Cardinals were down to their fourth string cornerback and a couple of practice squad guys covering Lamb and Cooper and Gallup, and they couldn't get anyone open. So I think the 49ers do the same thing. They run the same type of scheme, and they just run the ball down the throats of the Cowboys, who still aren't great at stopping the run.
Yeah,
And
Cowboys are going to have a lot of
49ers are the best rushing team in the league. They're
Yeah.
elite.
Joey Bosa, dude, forget it. Yeah. Let's move on to the Steelers and the Chiefs because
So are we taking the Niners on the money line or +3?
I took them on the money line. I just
Okay.
assumed these games were all going to take money line. Playoff games, let's just pick winners.
Okay.
Unless, I mean, look, the next game, I mean, it's pretty obvious, I think, who the winner might be. But the spread is pretty big for a playoff game.
Yeah, I almost want to
Yeah,
take this.
But you
Steelers.
guys, Ben Roethlisberger had a Hawaiian vacation already booked with his wife, and he had to cancel it because they ended up making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea of where his mind was.
But his mind has been in this place for the last
So
5 years.
He didn't think he was going to be there. And
But
true.
I don't think he wants to get embarrassed. I don't think he wants his last game to be 38-3. I really don't.
Have you ever seen Dan Marino's last game?
Yeah, you talked about what was
it was 51-3 or some shit. It was a wild card loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I maybe completed. I don't even think he completed 30% of his passes. The passer rating was single digits. It was the worst way to go out.
I don't think Kansas City's defense is going to do that to Ben Roethlisberger, but I don't think they have nearly enough to firepower to stay with the Chiefs. I don't know 12.5 if I want to fuck with that number. I'd rather just take the Chiefs outright. I think we've predicted. I mean, we have some underdogs, so I think we've made up for the fact that we could just take a pretty easy call on this.
Very true.
This might be the game that kills us, though.
I mean, if
crazier stuff has happened this year.
If Roethlisberger beats the Chiefs, dude, then we'll just talk about the games next week, but we're not going to make predictions because I think,
we're retiring from losing money if that happens. But my God, would that be wonderful for the Bills if they advance and the Chiefs do not, and we get some more home field games.
Yeah.
So a $50 5.
You got one more game, Steve.
Yeah, we got a Monday Night Football game.
Oh shit! I'm sorry, my fault. We got
which I don't know.
The Cardinals going into LA, and the Rams are laying 3.5 points.
I got them at 4. So the money's moving that way.
Rams win, right?
The Rams win.
Okay.
And I think the over hits. All these games have been really high scoring. And what's interesting is if you're playing DraftKings, Van Jefferson has torched this team both times they played this year. For whatever reason, Cooper Kupp has had his worst games against the Cardinals. So they just figured out how to put a safety over the top and kind of contain him. Not that he had bad games, but they weren't like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Van Jefferson's the only guy to score in both those games.
What if Stafford doesn't show up and J.J. Watt actually plays and is effective?
On the other side of the ball, you've got Connor's a game time decision, and Edmonds, I think, is also one of them wasn't practicing, and the other's like up in the air if they're going to go. So they're not fully healthy, and losing DeAndre Hopkins sucks. So it's going to be a lot of Zach Ertz, and Christian Kirk's probably going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey. So you're going, can Kyler Murray, who's been on and off, have a big game with AJ Green and Rondell Moore? And the Rams might have Cam Akers back to run a few more plays. I think he had 3 carries last week, so he looked okay. I think it's a high-scoring game, and I think the Rams win. Matt Stafford has a lot to prove. He's never won he's never won a playoff game. Yeah, he never won a playoff game with the Lions, so he has a lot to prove. They brought him in. He's the guy. Plus, Steve, this is the team. This is one of the teams that the NFL really wants to keep advancing, especially since they're hosting the Super Bowl. But it's a big market team, and everyone was really excited. They have all these superstars together. They have the young coach with the hot Instagram model girlfriend. So you might see some calls if the Cardinals start to get a little bit momentum that shifts some things.
Well, I'll just tell you this. With a $50 bet for the Bills on the money line, the Raiders on the money line, Eagles on the money line, Niners on the money line, Chiefs on the money line, Rams on the money line, and the over of 49.5. A $50 bet would net us $6,057.03.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Are we ready to do it?
Lock it in.
Let me see what mine is.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got 6,251.
Oh, you have more.
So I'm going to put mine in just for the hell of it. If you want to put yours in as well, we'll make Lucas a millionaire in a matter of 3 weeks.
This is the year, gentlemen. 2022 is the year.
Oh my God, I'm in fucking Minnesota.
Go. Are you gonna go to the Nickelodeon universe there? They got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm watching.
You have to hold.
I'm at Hooters.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna still be there. You're still gonna be there. So I guess it's my money that we're losing again this week.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. I'm in Minnesota. I do the Sunday games if you want. Fuck. I'm going axe throwing later on.
Wow.
Last time I was in one of these malls, I did something dangerous. I went shooting guns in Edmonton, and I almost fucking killed myself in that. So this axe throwing thing should be pretty interesting. Have you guys ever done this axe throwing or no?
Yeah. Wear your finest flannel.
I've never done it, so.
Oh, it's great. Just don't, there's strategies when you throw it,
I'm a risk guy, so I like to.
There you go. Yeah, like you're throwing a curveball.
Yep, dude. Forget it. Watch me fucking behind the back, over my head.
Don't stab yourself.
Are they sharp?
You're going to be missing an ear next week.
Yeah.
Stevie Three Knuckles.
You'll be Van Gogh in it.
Guys, great podcast. Oh, by the way, I have a lot of dates that I posted on my website. So
we had to two things in order real quick before you get to your dates. Something that we should have done last week. We need to congratulate on winning the league. Patreon member Dylan ran the table, beat Lucas in the championship. So shout out to him.
By a point.
Joins us on the live casts a lot, and he had a hell of a run in probably the lowest scoring game in PPR history for a finals. I think it was like
shitball that was.
You guys were barely getting 100.
Yeah.
And then the second order of business, Ezekiel Elliott officially ran for more yards than Saquon Barkley. So fuck you guys. I called it. I called it before the season started. You said I was an idiot. Who's a dummy now?
I think
Did
everybody
either one of them
lost
have
that
years that you should be proud of?
No, absolutely
exactly.
not. But it's a testament to how good the Cowboys offensive line and their run system is that the guy played on one leg for probably 8 weeks and still was out rushing Barkley even when he came back healthy.
You congratulate. You're just a slightly better fucking loser than I am.
Yes.
So good
Winner.
for you.
Winner.
Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted, SteveRenazizi.com for new tour dates. I'm going to Charlotte next weekend, Naples, Florida the weekend after. I'm doing a fundraiser in Delray Beach while I'm down there hanging out with my buddy Steve Simone. I'll be going to where am I? Oh yes, then I'm going to Denver, Colorado. That's always one of my most fun weekends of the year. So middle of February for that, and then I have other dates coming soon. So Buffalo at the end of March. So check out SteveRenazizi.com for tickets. Thank you guys.
Also, R.I.P. Bob Saget.
Yeah, another fucking yeah. That's a and look, but when I hear like comedian died in a hotel, I'm like, oh, like shit. It must. I feel like the way when priests must feel like you heard about another priest getting like finger banging a kid. You're like, fuck, dude. And you think drugs, and you think oh shit, it's a lonely life, and I'll probably end up in one of these, but. Because it brings your mortality to it, but to hear that he just kind of like fell asleep and peacefully died in his sleep, I was like, that's great. I'm perfectly okay with that. Obviously, way too fucking soon to a terrible loss because he's one of the great people in our business. One of the good dudes. not only funny, but like, and a treasure, and as an actor and a comedian, it's like, oh, he did both things that I love to do as well. So, yeah, I didn't know him well at all, but every time I talked to him or had an encounter with him, it was always positive. It was always fucking cool. And that's not the case with everyone at his level. So, yeah, tough. Real tough. You guys want to add anything or no?
No, let's end it on a downer.
Yeah, really.
No, he was like he was coming to the store quite a bit. I remember the night before Mitzi passed, he came and did like a 15-minute set and was just in tears and just really heartfelt and just felt like he had to come to the Comedy Store that night to.
And I forgot it was sneaky. He's been around sneaky long, dude. Anyone that was here or there where you are at the store, I say here because I'm looking at you two, and I'm figuring every time we talk we're usually there, but. Anyone that has a 7 in front of their number, like the 70, he was here since 79. That's legit, dude. Legit. Young comics look at like Bobby Lee and Ari now and guys that were here in the 90s, Duncan, like fuck. The way I looked at Harris Pete when he got here, in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Saget was a 70s guy. He got there and accepted and part of the group in the 70s.
Yeah. Apparently, Mitzi said,
"Oh, I got there in '79, but really in '86 is when people started he started coming around." I was like, "No, dude, he was there and part of the whole thing in the '70s, which is crazy, Yeah,
Tommy Morris.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Lucas.
Oh no, I was gonna say Tommy Morris said that Mitzi said he was the best host ever. As far as
she had him hosting potluck, and he posted about that he hosted the main room almost every night for 5 years, and that's where he got that quick cadence from.
I call bullshit on that. Not saying that you didn't. I think I've heard versions of her saying that about 2 other people too, Letterman,
and
Leno. I think
it's good company.
I bet you she thought, and I wouldn't be surprised that he was probably the best at the earliest. Like he was good when he started and got really great later on. I think I heard a version of her saying Letterman was shitty in the beginning and she just made him continue to do it and he ended up fucking becoming fantastic at it. So, but in either case, dude, you can't go wrong. So, yeah, that sucks. And R.I.P. dude.
There was my Bob Saget story. There was a photo that the Comedy Store Instagram posted and I took it and it's him standing by his picture in the hallway. And legitimately, it took us probably 10 minutes to take that photo. And he made me get a chair and try every angle because he was like, you can't get my other chin in there. And it was the longest I ever took in all the years that I've been doing social media to take someone's picture. But he was cracking jokes the entire time. And it was amazing. It was so funny. But yeah, he was very much don't get my chin. I had to delete a lot of pictures off of the Instagram because he was like, you got my chin in there.
I didn't know there was a possibility. I would have done that to you 100 times. Can we double chin shots you got of me?
Yeah. Well, you're not Bob Saget.
No, I'm Bob. Forget it. Doesn't matter. I love you guys, and I just want to say that even if win, lose, or draw this weekend, if we draw,
we're winning big. We're winning 6,200 this weekend.
But the way you even say 6,200 leads me to believe that you don't think we're going to win.
No, we're not going to. No, we should have taken the Raiders with the points, not on the money line, and we should have. We probably should have taken the Steelers to cover.
That's the podcast for this week, ladies and gentlemen. We wish you a blessed and healthy, happy week, full of prosperity and joy. I wish that for you too. And I'll just be sitting here staring at the snow.
Oh, Jesus.
God.
So that's me. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Please let someone else know about this podcast. It's a fantastic one. And you may gain some knowledge about sports and laugh a little bit. So that's it. We'll be back next week to see what happened. If we win, lose, or draw.
Yep.
Bye.
Go Bills.